everybody's favorite bumpkin here. You may notice from the view that we are not on the Master Glide. There's a reason for that, and let me dive into it here in just a little bit. But right now, I got to make sure that I can dodge all the wing nuts and the wannabes that think they know how to drive, even though they actually don't. Basically, what I'm saying is I got to get to the highway in one piece and then make my way through Malfunction Junction and make my way back to the hacienda. So yeah, wish me luck. Yeah, total noob move there. I'm on a bike that I'm very unfamiliar with, so please excuse me. I kind of forgot to put it in first gear when I went to take off. Let me tell you about this shit right here, okay? Hey, there's my little buddy Angel. He's a little midget Rainy Rider wannabe. Got the hairstyle down pat and all. Anyway, like I was saying, this is where fate and destiny and how the world's kind of aligned, so to speak, to play a somewhat of a sick and twisted joke on you. Anyway, like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted there, this is where fate and destiny kind of came together and decided, you know what, let's rub some shit on the fat man. So this bike that I'm on right now, this is a 1988 model Tour Glide Classic. That's right, y'all. This is the ugly, the OG ugly. None of that Road Glide bullshit. This is the Tour Glide. This is the Road Glide's daddy. About a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago, I saw this bike right here pop up on Facebook Marketplace, and the guy had it priced out really, really good. You know, it was almost too good, if you know what I mean. So I kind of questioned it, but I thought, you know what, if the guy's wanting to turn loose of it for $3 grand, then somebody's going to get a smoking ass shit hot deal. Well, you know, I wasn't in the mood, nor was I in a position to where I could even think about buying another bike at that moment in time. And anyway, I was just like, well, good luck to you, brother. Hope it works out. And I just, you know, kind of passed it off and never even thought about it. Fast forward to a couple of weeks ago. I see this motorcycle right here on a trailer out in the parking lot at the Ride Factory. And it dawned on me, I'm like, wait a minute, that thing looks all kind of familiar. And sure as shit, I still had the guy's ad saved in my Marketplace profile on Facebook. Now the funny part is, that ad showed that it was sold, but Marketplace ads don't show when they're sold, so I had no idea. Long story short, and no ill will towards the guy that owns this thing, okay? I mean, he got a deal of a lifetime, because I'm going to tell you right now, the dude bought this bike for $1,600. That's right, 1,600 bucks. We're talking cheaper than what you see most busted ass Sportsters that's got 17 different colors of spray paint on them go for. 1,600 bucks for an 88 model Tour Glide Classic that's all original, all factory Harley stuff, except for a couple of small Farkle and, you know, safety chrome issue elements on the back end of the damn thing back there. And this thing's got not quite 59,000 miles showing on the clock. Cool? Cool. 1,600 bucks. Man, that's one of those things that'll just piss you off no matter what. But you know what? Good on him. But it shows up in my parking lot at the Ride Factory. And I kind of found out why the guy was selling it, but at that point in time, I didn't know what the guy had bought it for, okay? I just remembered the ad. So the bike shows up there at the Ride Factory. Guy wants to bring it back from the dead, get it up and running. He wants to, and you know, he's being real about it. He's being smart about it. You know, he doesn't want to spend a ton of money, but he's not afraid of spending money where it counts. The reason why this thing got parked was because the shifter turn spring and the transmission, it broke. Well, you Harley 5-speed guys, you're probably well aware of what goes on then, okay? It's an $8 spring. It's not a big deal. But the thing is, you got to gut the primary and you got to pull the transmission out of the case to be able to change the thing out because of the way that it goes in. And there ain't no cheat code for that. It's something you just got to do. Well, we discuss it, and you know, he's aware of what all's involved and everything. At that point, he don't care because he knows he's into this thing. He knows he's into this thing like a bandit. I mean, he's just shitting and grinning up one end down the other, you know, because he already knows he blundered into a shit hot deal of a lifetime. I opened this thing up. I put a return spring in the gear shifter for the trans. That takes care of the transmission problems. While we were in there, I just happened to notice that his stator was that far away from going full-blown Hiroshima. So we put a stator and a regulator in there just for good measure, just to keep him from having problems later on down the road. See you tomorrow, brother. I love you, man. Anyway, we do that. Change oil and stuff, clean the carburetor on it, had to put an air filter in it because the one that was in there, you know, it pretty much crumbled into dust because it was one of the old foam uni filters. But, you know, you guys know how this thing goes, how this stuff progresses, okay? My man is into this thing for extreme low cash. And right now, the reason why I'm riding this thing is he wanted me to make sure that it was going to be good to go and, you know, mechanically solid before he really committed to keeping this thing around long term. Now, a brief history on the Tour Glide and things like that, and all things that evolved from Shovel. The Tour Glide was originally produced, it was actually conceived and announced in late 1979 as a 1980 model motorcycle. And if you see the tach and speedometer right now, with that needle pointing there and that needle pointing there, it definitely shows. Now, the Tour Glide was the first rubber mount motor for Harley. I know a lot of people say the FXR was. The FXR was derived from the Tour Glide chassis. It's in the same family. So, i.e., the Tour Glide here is the granddaddy of the rubber band Harley motors. And, you know, take that as opinion, take it for what you will, but that's what I'm going to choose to go with here. Anyway, fast forward a couple of years, Shovelhead production's winding down. We got this new upstart called an Evo that factors into everything. And whenever they made the transition to the Evo, they put that in there, and it was great. You know, they did some small tweaks on the transmission. They went ahead and updated the charging system just a little bit because the old 22-amp charging system proved to be barely adequate, so they figured they'd give it just a little bit more juice. They made some small changes on the transmission itself, you know, mostly just having to do with clutch lever effort and also clutch feel, because that was when they got away from the swinging arm, clutch arm to the little 3-ball ramp that twists around and around in the end of the end cover. Because if you guys remember, on the very early 5-speeds, they don't have the ovalish baby butt transmission cover. They got that diamond-shaped cover. So that's where those changes came about from. And then in late 87, the really cool looking integrated turn signals that were mounted in the corners of the fairing here, unfortunately those went away, and we put the standard issue Harley-Davidson popsicle turn signal lights up there hanging off the bottom of the fairing support bars. All in all, not a big deal, not a huge loss, but it's one of those little character things that, you know, you kind of remember. Now, how I remember these bikes is the first time I ever saw one of these things, I was a dumbass kid in junior high, and me and my dad just happened to walk into Denny's Harley-Davidson in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Rest in peace, guys. I mean, that was a kick-ass shop before y'all got bought out and the new owners decided to take it corporate. I mean, Denny's was what you call a old world, old school Harley dealership. Small building, they had maybe 700 foot worth of showroom area, all that, and the shop was actually in the basement. The upstairs part was where they had the showroom and the t-shirts and the parts department. Downstairs was where all the bikes got worked on. And whenever you walked in, especially in the late 80s as I remember it, when you walked in, it was still a common sight to see drip trays underneath about half of the motorcycles on the floor there. And if you guys know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about drip trays under a motorcycle, you'll know exactly why they were there. Denny's kind of became, you know, a spot where me and my dad would cruise through on occasion just to ooh and ah and window shop and cruel just a little bit, because my dad, being the hard-working and financially responsible individual that he was, he wanted a bike, but he knew he didn't have Harley money, so he ended up buying a Yamaha. And that's all well and good, because you know what? The old venture that Dad bought into, man, that thing opened up many a mile and many a smile for the both of us. And there's a hell of a lot of memories tied up there, and I'm damn glad I got them. However, I remember walking in one day and I saw one of these tour glides sitting over in the corner. And for you guys who watch the Shade Tree Surgeon channel, you'll remember the old Shovelhead tour glide that Josh had come up with that got raffled off as an auction bike for Forgotten Angels. Now, the tour glide that I recall seeing whenever I was just a wee little sprog, it was a very, very stunning two-tone peanut butter brown and birch white, okay? Probably the two homeliest colors that you can combine on any motorcycle that exists in this world. But it looked good on the damn thing. I mean, really, it did. You got this pair of, you got these big-ass double-barrel headlights on the snoot of this thing. It literally looks like they stole the headlights off of a Kenworth, and they strapped them on the front of the motorcycle, and then they started building up fiberglass around them. And you know what? I'm fine with that, because that's my flavor of weird, okay? That's the oddball stuff that I tend to gravitate towards. And, sorry, slight pause in my rant here, but you see that right there? Yeah, that view right there with that sunset. Thank God we live in Florida, because I know a lot of you boys and gals that's up north right now, you're having to put scooters to bed and put them in down for a long winter's nap. Thankfully, that is not going to be a problem, and it will never be a problem for us down here in the Sunshine State. Woo! Now, obviously, you can tell this is a bike that was designed in the late 70s, early 80s, just judging by the gear ratios that you can painfully see here, judging from the RPM on the tach versus the speed that's showing on the speedometer. Now, let's be real here. These bikes were big, they were chunky. These things were designed to be a ocean-going couch, basically. These things were designed for comfort. These things were designed for mileage. They were designed for long haul. And back then, long haul meant long damn haul, because we had a 55-mile-an-hour interstate speed limit across the country. Thank God they come to their senses and got away from that crap. Woo! But it shows here, because, I mean, I'm indicating that I'm doing roughly 85 mile an hour, turning about 3,800 RPM. Now, that's kind of cranked up in my book whenever it comes to an Evo, be it a stock motor or otherwise. Still, there's no reason you should turn a big twin that much going down the highway, just maintaining commuting speed like I'm doing right here, right now. And like I will always say, and the hill I will always die on, that is a speed suggestion, and that speedometer is horribly, horribly inaccurate. We're all members of the Law-Abiding Citizens Club here, after all. I mean, some of us have even got stickers. Fast forward to today. Well, not today, but present day. Y'all know what I mean. So my guy brings his tour glide in, and it looks really, really, really familiar. And all of a sudden it hits me, and I go digging into my marketplace history on Facebook, and sure as shit, there it is, bigger than Dallas. And I thought, God, man, you bought this thing for $3,000. You made a shit hot buy on this thing, because this bike is a veritable time capsule. Everything on this motorcycle is period correct from the late 1980s, 1988, 1989, that era. And it's well, it's bobbing and weaving a little bit on the construction here on 275 South, largely due to the horrible cracks in the road surface, but also the tires that I'm rolling on right now, well, they may be old enough to buy beer. Well, they are. The date codes on these things are from 2003. Now, considering the fact that I'm going to ride it over to my house and back just to see how it does on the highway, just to shake it down for him, I'm not too awful worried about that. But before my man goes and does something stupid like jumping on the thing and driving to, you know, like the Grand Canyon and back, I'm going to tell my man, hey, we need to get you some fresh rubber on that thing that was made sometime in this decade, preferably here within the last year or so, because what he's got here is definitely deep into senior citizen category. You know, I gotta say, this thing rides good. It's literally like driving your couch, man. I mean, this thing's comfy. You got room to move. And right now, even though the motor's turning a little more RPM than what I personally would prefer, it's in that little sweet spot in the residence zone to where you feel absolutely nothing coming through the handlebars. You don't feel anything coming from the foot pegs. I'm barely feeling anything coming from my feet up on the highway bar. And I mean, it's just dialed in. And it's really impressive because 99% of these bikes that you see running around out there, they've been worked on and finger fucked, and you know, somebody's Uncle Ricky Bobby that had a Harley one time, you know, they've been dicking around with it thinking that they were going to give it a good old tune-up, and we all know how that turns out, okay? I mean, sometimes people's ego gets way out ahead of their common sense, and they end up creating a hell of a lot more problems than they solve. But this thing, man, I mean, I'm sorry to sound like I'm hung up on it, but damn. And I mean no ill will to the guy that bought this thing, but you know what? Screw this guy, because damn it, man. I found out that my man bought this thing for $1,600. And not only that, the guy he bought this bike from was the second owner of the bike and had owned this thing since 1991, if y'all can believe that. And to add insult to injury, every single piece of paperwork that this guy had ever done on the motorcycle, he threw in a big-ass folder, and my customer brought that to me to let me peruse through it to see if anything that, you know, had been done in the past needed to be revisited, or if there was anything that needed to be done that hadn't been touched on. This thing is dealer serviced. I mean, I'm not saying that the dealership's the end-all be-all, because obviously, you know, if I thought that, I wouldn't be where I'm at and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But everything on this motorcycle is documented. It's never been wrecked to anybody's knowledge. It's had all the recalls that were issued on it back in the day done. I mean, this thing's tight. What can I say? I'm mad jelly, like mad jelly. But and full truth here, it's not terribly often when I take a customer's bike home with me for an extended test ride, but on this one, I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do that. No problem. Sure thing, buddy. I mean, it's not every day you get a chance to ride a museum piece. I mean, everything on it just works. And it works damn well. So just to summarize here, my guy brings the bike up to me. I recognize the bike. My guy tells me what he wants done with the bike. I start getting jelly because I remember seeing this bike. We talk about the bike. And about 2 hours later, that's when he tells me what he paid for the bike. And that's when I seriously considered committing a felony. Obviously, yeah, my man got a shit hot deal. Well, I got no better way to describe that, okay? He got a shit hot deal. And I would be lying to you if I did not say that I was green with envy at that point, and just a little bit butthurt about it. I ain't gonna hide it. I ain't gonna deny it. Because I mean, this thing this oozes 1980s awesome, okay? This thing it screams, you know, hey, this is what the motor company was doing back in the day. I mean, legitimately, this thing is a time capsule on 2 wheels, and I've got no better way to describe that. It's impressive as hell, y'all. Hang on just a second here, guys. I got to pull off and make a quickie stop on the way to the Hacienda. Let me get pulled over and I'll give you a walk around on this thing to where you can check it out and see what I'm blabbering on about, because this thing is amazing. let me pull into the Waz here, because I gotta pick up a few things on the way to the house. And while I'm at it, I'm going to turn the idle down on this thing a little bit, because that crept up there just a skosh bit. Excuse me for a second, folks. I got to do some mechanic shit here. Where'd my screwdriver go? There it is. Yeah. Lucky shit even had both pairs of the original brass keys that came with this thing when it was sold new. Looks like we might have a little bit of oil coming out from around a push rod tube, but hey, for how old it is, you got no room to bitch. So check it out, gang. 1988 model Tour Glide Classic. In vivid black with some tasteful 80s era pinstripe. A little bit here, a little bit there. Lots of safety chrome. Also, I was talking to my guy, and I talked him into doing an LED lighting upgrade on this to where you're reducing the amount of draw that goes on the electrical system without taking away from the original look of the bike. The headlights haven't come in for it yet. That's something that I got to build on this thing, but you know, I'll give you guys a heads up on that whenever I do them. But yeah, man. I mean, what can I say? This thing is awesome. It's got all the chromes, all the lights. I mean, yeah. Look at it this way. If Bruce Willis, God love him, ever comes out of retirement and he decides he wants to do Die Hard 7 and they want to go back to the airport and they got to have some more landing lights, all we got to do is just show up and we got them covered. I guess I can stop flapping my yap here and run in here and do my business. That way I can get to the house. So, if you'll excuse me for just a second, I got to run in there and I got to run in here and I got to grab a couple of things for the wife unit, and also I got to grab some smokes and propagate my own self-destructive bad habits. And I got a little bit of a confession to make, okay? I bought this bike. And the reason why I bought this bike is because I literally remember seeing this thing in my marketplace history from about a year ago. And I saw it pop back up again. And yeah, honest to God, no bullshit, I paid $1,600 for this motorcycle. As a matter of fact, whenever I bought this bike, I went out there and I was meeting the fella at his house, and he called me and he told me, hey, I had to run up the road real quick, I'll be right there. So I had about 5 minutes to look the bike over before he got there, and as soon as he got there, I handed him $1,600 cash. And he's like, you got any questions about it? And I'm like, nope, I just want you to shut up and take my money before you come to your senses. I want you guys to know, this isn't something that I planned, but when I saw this thing and I saw how original this bike was, it was a moral imperative. I had to buy this thing to protect it from being chopped up, hacked up, butchered up by somebody that wanted to build them a big wheel bagger or something like that, because it's too damn original, it's too damn unique, and it's just too damn cool for something like that to happen to it. So everybody, meet Destiny. She's the newest member of the Joe the Mountain Jedi crew. And trust me, we're going to be spending a lot of time here with Destiny on the channel. And one thing that we are going to do is we're going to be doing a lot of upgrades on this bike. However, I'm going to show you how to do them to where they're on the sneaky sneak and it doesn't detract from the original look of a motorcycle if you happen to find one that's in a similar state as this one is. Trust me, keeping that vibe, keeping that feel, keeping that original look to it, that's something that's damn important to me. And that's the way this one's going to stay. But when it comes to what's on the inside and what's under the skirt, so to speak, well, anything goes, baby. Huh. I'll be damned. I bought my first fucking Harley Davidson. Okay, yeah. Now I gotta go home. Hey, wait. Bonus footage. Come on. Take a ride with me. Let's see just how terrible 40-year-old incandescent headlight bulbs can be, shall we? I mean, look at it this way. If they ain't enough, I got this little light on my cell phone. Like I said, all the Christmas tree lights. Everywhere. So far the headlights don't look that bad, but then again, Wawa's got a lot of lights in their parking lot too, so yeah. Oh yeah, I don't know if it's going to show up in the video all that well, but trust me, those headlights are pretty damn awful. God bless the man that invented LEDs, because by God we need them. Just for ha-has, that's the high beam. Didn't really change a whole hell of a lot now, did it? He's so cute. A squid in training with his $39.95 get 2-day delivery Amazon loud as shit slip-on pipe. Anyway, gang, I feel like I owe you an apology for kind of sort of misleading you a little bit at the start of the video, but you know what? I gotta admit, I'm still cheesing and shitting and grinning from ear to ear, because this kind of stuff does not happen to me. It usually happens to my customers and people that I know, but it never happens to me. But you know what? I'm gonna take this as a sign, and I'm gonna roll with it, because, you know, I've always said if I was ever going to buy a Harley, or ever going to have a Harley for me, it sure wasn't going to look like your typical Street Glide or Softail, or God forbid I turn into a Dynabro, because that ain't happening. But you know what? The old ugly here, she is beautiful in more ways than one. So I figured Destiny was a pretty solid name, because it's only going to get better from here, and we ain't starting out bad. I appreciate you guys allowing me to spend some time with you, share some good news, because God knows here after the past few months that we've had with the wife unit's wreck and all that, we needed it. Something good had to happen. I just wasn't figuring on it being this. Oh, and in case you're wondering, whenever the wife unit found out about Destiny here, it was in kind of a roundabout sort of way. Because I told her that I bought her a new seat to make it a little easier on the old tushy whenever she's on the bike with me. Funny enough, seat came with a whole ass motorcycle. So that's how I got away with that shit. And just remember, for you fine folks that's going to be gracing us with your presence at the Weirdos Camp out here this weekend at Forgotten Angels in Valrico, be on the lookout, because Destiny here is probably going to make an appearance. There's a couple of you guys out there that already know what's going on, and you've seen some pictures. There's your chance to step up and see it in the flesh, because man, I tell you, y'all will be just as impressed as I was. I ain't trying to brag, but by God, right now I'm bragging. Anyway, gang, I'm gonna jump off of here. I'm about to be at the house, and I will catch up with you guys on the flip side. And just remember, Whatever happens at the Weirdos Camp Out stays with the weirdos at the camp out. Behold, sage words from the all-knowing and knowledgeable tortoise.
Force will be with you, always.